Hey, Fireplace people, posting this on my gun channel. Man, when I first got this Fireplace, this is a Quadra fire. I don't know what model it is or whatever, but when I first got it, trying to start fires was kind of a pain in the butt because they tell you you don't want to grate, you don't want to raise all the fire because your coils up top here are reburning the air. So it's very efficient. So it took me a while to figure out the best way that I found to start these fires is I always put a couple logs sideways and then I put my logs on top, and that allows great airflow. Now this appears to be a little closer to the top than it really is. There's still a pretty good bit of room up there. Another thing that kind of stopped me from starting good fires is when you read the instructions on these Quadra fires and all these insert fireplaces, they go, don't make it too hot, you'll burn your oven. Look, unless you get red coals up here by your little vents, it's all steel, and red coals is even going to take a hard time. They just don't want you packing it so full with logs that you can't get any airflow, and that just becomes one big glowing red tank. Then you got issues, but you'll never get that. I mean, it gets hot enough without it. So again, the best way I found to start this fire is I always put two of my short logs this way. I don't know if it would be, okay, this would be horizontal. We'll go this way's horizontal and this way's vertical. So I put a log vertical to the back this way and this way, and then it creates a little, like I'm lifting it. You don't want to put an iron log carrier in there because then it keeps your coals too high. What happens after this gets started is the wood on top burns down and falls to the ground. And then these side logs produce a lot of heat and everything gets going. So I usually just put a little paper at the bottom. I usually take a paper bag and tear the bottom part off. When I go get groceries, I just get paper instead of plastic at my grocery store. At Winco is where I get them. And then I put the flat part of the plastic bag on the ground because that fire will burn. This thick paper bag material burns hotter than like newspaper. I just threw this newspaper in there because I had some from a package and I went, oh, I'll just burn it instead of throwing it away. So I just stuck that on top. But normally paper bag material burns hotter, so I like to use paper bag. And then what I will do is, let me move this to the side so maybe you can see what I'm doing. If I can spin this around, I can see what I'm doing. So then I just make little balls of this paper in here to kind of give me a starting point. And again, this is one paper bag. And now on top of these little things is what I will lay my smaller twigs that I go pick up out in the yard. And sometimes I'll do a little teepee because I want to get it back there. Sometimes I'll just lay them flat. The teepee to me seems to work better because as it grows, it falls back down on the pile. So most of the time I will do my little teepee. I don't know if you can say teepee anymore. Is that going to offend somebody? Is somebody going to claim that nobody used teepees and you're going to offend? Shut up, freaking crybabies. So I'm making this, and then once I get, again, little branches that'll start, maybe throw a couple back there. And see, I put two long logs back there. Normally I wouldn't throw this guy in. He was just a short log, so I throw him. But you could start it like this. And then, you know, wherever you want to lay the little logs, your little teepees, and you can go vertical if you want to. I happened to grab some grass that I didn't mean to. It just came up with the logs. And, of course, that'll be a good fire starter, too. So I'll try to stick that in between the paper and everything else. Ideally, you want to use small kindling to get red. And this is probably enough. That's probably enough to get it started. But since I brought all this crap in, I'm just going to throw it all in there. I actually brought in way too much. I grabbed a couple handfuls. And so I'll just make my little teepee, make it all going up. And this little branch here, I could probably save this for another fire if I wanted to, but it's not, I make my fire ready before the winter, before the cold comes in. So this stuff in here is going to dry. We're expecting a cold front in 2 or 3 days. So in 2 days, this is going to be sitting in here drying even more. And it'll even light quicker. And so basically, and I'll just clean up my crap on the ground here. That's going to burn also. And I don't even need this log. I'll just set this aside. Now once I light this, and again, I still think investing in one of these is 15 bucks. I don't need to worry about matches and burning out. I just turn it on, click the button, and I start my paper and it's done. Takes me 2 seconds. This bottle, this has lasted me 3 years now. And it's always there if I need to heat something up or do it. I've just got my little propane thing. I think you can get these at Ace. I'm sure they have it on Amazon. It's a little click starter. And you just screw it on here. When this wears out, I'll just screw it on another one. So that's how I start it. And what I'll do is I'll start the paper that I put underneath there with this when it's burning. It'll light the twigs. The twigs will light. After all the twigs get burning good, I'll throw one of these kind of on top of it like so. And it'll set off the ground because I have these 2 verticals. And it lets air flow. This is my little air intake right here on these things, so it blows air in this way. I'll just turn this on high. The air will go straight through. And it'll circle the fire, and my fire will be burning. Once I light it with this for like, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds, as soon as I get going, I shut these doors. And once the doors are shut, I don't open it until I put more firewood, and that fire is glowing. And that's the quickest and best way I found to work these ovens. Again, that's going to sit in there for 2 days instead of waiting just till, sorry, kicked in. And waiting until until I need it and try to build it, and then it's damp and it's moist out. I always get my fire ready a few days before, and then once it's going, you know, it'll be running 2 or 3 days. So that's how I do my fire starter on these wood burning fireplaces. And again, the good thing about these, the best benefit I think to these, is I can leave the house. Once I get my fire going, if I need to go somewhere, I don't have to worry about things popping out. I don't have to worry about the place catching on fire because I shut these doors and all the fire's inside. So when I light this, it may stay for 2 or 3 days burning, and I'll just keep adding wood. And then I'll just take some ashes out every once in a while it's still hot and add more wood. So much more efficient way to burn. I don't think I would ever have a regular fireplace anymore. Those doors keep the smoke out. It makes it more efficient. I don't have wood that doesn't burn. I mean, it turns everything into ash because all the heat is contained. Remember the 3 things for a fire: heat, fuel, and air. You control the airflow. The heat stays in there, so it burns everything more efficiently. It doesn't create smoke because it's burning hot, and it actually consumes the smoke in the fire. So that's how I start my fires. Just figured I'd pass it on because it took me a while trying different things, and I found this works the best. All right? And if you go to the manual, they say just build your fire in the middle on the ground, and then light your little things like the teepee, and then throw wood on top of it. But as soon as you throw wood on top of it, if you don't have something bracing it, and those 2 side logs help keep you from mashing out your coals on the bottom, and it allows airflow. And then once it starts burning, once they get red, then you can throw wood right on top of it. All right? Well, in that there on Lighting a Fire 101,